Who cannot obey himself will be commanded. That is the nature of living creatures. Sometimes, people don't want to hear the truth, because they don't want their illusions destroyed. There's no defense against stupidity. That which does not kill us makes us stronger. The tree that would grow to heaven must send its roots to hell. In loneliness, the lonely one eats himself. In a crowd, the many eat him. Now choose. Become who you are. Make what only you can make. From people who merely pray, we must become people who bless. I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on, I can't believe you. Some died too young, some died too old. The precept sounds strange, but die at the right age. In order to be somebody, you have to hold even your shadow in high regard. Those you cannot teach to fly, teach to fall faster. All words are prejudices. A sure way to irritate people, and to put evil thoughts into their heads, is to keep them waiting a long time. This makes them immoral. Invisible threads are the strongest ties. The lie is a condition of life. The snake, which cannot cast its skin, has to die. As well the minds, which are prevented from changing their opinions, they cease to be mind. Necessity is an interpretation, not a fact. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist. Hold a true friend with both your hands. Give me today, for once, the worst throw of your dice destiny. Today, I transmute everything into gold. Fear is the mother of morality. Whoever has not 2/3 of his time to himself is a slave. There are two different types of people, those who want to know, and those who want to believe. I and me are always too deeply in conversation. We are terrified by the idea of being terrified. We talk about taking pleasure in a thing, but in truth, it is pleasure in ourselves, mediated by a thing. The future influences the present just as much as the past. I am a law only for my kind, I am no law for all. Our greatest experiences are our quietest moments. In heaven, all the interesting people are missing. We only hear questions that we are able to answer. No one can construct for you the bridge upon which precisely you must cross the stream of life. No one but you, yourself alone. In the dark, time feels different than when it is light. Love your enemies because they bring out the best in you. In revenge and in love, woman is more barbarous than man. Our body is simply a social structure made of many souls. Everyone thinks that the principal thing to the tree is the fruit, but in point of fact, the principal thing to it is the seed. Truths are illusions, which we have forgotten are illusions. Madness is not a consequence of uncertainty, but of certainty. When you look into an abyss, the abyss also looks into you. Whatever the state said is a lie. Whatever it hath is a theft. All is counterfeit in it, the gnawing, sanguinary, insatiate monster. There are no eternal facts, as there are no absolute truths. Surrounded by the flames of jealousy, the jealous one winds up, like the scorpion, turning the poison sting against himself. A thought, even a possibility, can shatter and transform us. Who cannot give anything away, cannot feel anything either. All things that are truly great are at first thought impossible. Whoever lives for the sake of combating an enemy has an interest in the enemy staying alive. We talk so abstractly about poetry because all of us are usually bad poets. Assuming that we have trained our imagination to denounce the past, we will not suffer much from unfulfilled wishes. They devour each other, and cannot even digest themselves. What someone is, begins to be revealed, when his talent abates, when he stops showing us what he can do. Silence is worse. All truths that are kept silent become poisonous. Man is the only animal that must be encouraged to live. A pair of powerful spectacles has sometimes sufficed to cure a person in love. Knowledge kills action. Action requires the veils of illusion. Man's task is simple. He should cease letting his existence be a thoughtless accident. The greatest giver of alms is cowardice. Growth in wisdom can be measured precisely by decline in bile. What is the task of higher education? To make a man into a machine. What are the means employed? He is taught how to suffer being bored. In Christianity, neither morality nor religion come into contact with reality at any point. When a man has just been greatly honored and has eaten a little, he is the most generous. It is possible to imagine a society flushed with such a sense of power that it could afford to let its offenders go unpunished. Real dancers are the ones who can hear the music in their soul. What is evil? Whatever springs from weakness. All things are subject to interpretation. Whichever interpretation prevails at a given time is a function of power and not truth. We should consider every day lost on which we have not danced at least once. Can an ass be tragic? To perish under a burden that one can neither bear nor cast off. The case of the philosopher. Ultimately, it is the desire, not the desired, that we love. The most instructive experiences are those of everyday life. Man alone resists the direction of gravitation. He constantly wants to fall upwards. This is the hardest of all, to close the open hand out of love and keep modest as a giver. A bad conscience is easier to cope with than a bad reputation. To our strongest impulse, to the tyrant in us, not only our reason, but also our conscience yields. My humanity is a constant self-overcoming. What was silent in the Father speaks to the Son, and often I found in the Son the unveiled secret of the Father. Even the bravest only rarely have courage for what they really know. The best friend will probably acquire the best wife, because a good marriage is founded on the talent for friendship. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. Whoever does not have a good father should procure one. What convinces is not necessarily true. It is merely convincing, a note for asses. Solitude makes us tougher towards ourselves, and tenderer towards others. In both ways, it improves our character. There is an old illusion. It's called good and evil. With one more talent, one frequently stands with greater instability than with one less. As a table stands better on 3 legs than on 4. One can speak with the utmost clearness, and yet not be heard by anyone. At the very moment when someone is beginning to take philosophy seriously, the whole world believes the opposite. It is the privilege of greatness to confer intense happiness with insignificant gifts. Sometimes it is harder to accede to a thing than it is to see its truth. In almost all sciences, the fundamental knowledge is either found in earliest times, or is still being sought. A moral system, valid for all, is basically immoral. Love of one is a piece of barbarism, for it is practiced at the expense of all others. Love of God, likewise. The existence of forgetting has never been proved. We only know that some things don't come to mind when we want them. There is not enough love and goodness in the world to permit giving any of it away to imaginary beings. One thing a man must have: either a naturally light disposition, or a disposition lightened by art and knowledge. Genuine historical knowledge requires nobility of character, a profound understanding of human existence, not detachment and objectivity. No victor believes in chance. The love of power is the demon of mankind. Love too has to be learned. Man, a hybrid of plant and ghost. You say, a good cause justifies any war. But I say, a good war justifies any cause. Who denies himself much in great matters, will readily indulge himself in small things. I have not the capability to give you my loyalty, nor do I have the vanity to appear as if I did. One must separate from anything that forces one to repeat no again and again. If there is something to pardon in everything, there is also something to condemn. To live alone, one must be a beast or a god, says Aristotle. Leaving out the third case, one must be both, a philosopher. The value of life itself cannot be estimated. Whom do you call bad? Those who always want to induce shame. We count the courtesies accorded us by unpopular people as offenses. A man who has depths in his shame meets his destiny, and his delicate decisions upon paths which few ever reach. Who does not desire much more from things than knowledge of them easily makes peace with his soul? All mankind is divided, as it was at all times, and is still, into slaves and freemen. You look up when you wish to be exalted, and I look down because I am exalted. I have never come across someone who could inspire more respect than the Greek philosophers. Pity makes suffering contagious. In a certain state, it is indecent to live longer. Only idiots fail to contradict themselves 3 times a day. One ought to hold on to one's heart, for if one lets it go, one soon loses control of the head too. Objection, evasion, joyous distrust, and love of irony are signs of health. Everything absolute belongs to pathology. I love those who do not know how to live for today. Nothing ever succeeds which exuberant spirits have not helped to produce. Everyone needs a sense of shame, but no one needs to feel ashamed. In everything, one thing is impossible: rationality. Creating, that is the great salvation from suffering. Be generous in nature and thought, for this wins respect and gives confidence and power. To forget one's purpose is the commonest form of stupidity. The individual has always to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. A few hours of mountain climbing make a blackguard and a saint, 2 rather similar creatures. An attack on the roots of passion means an attack on the roots of life. No one is such a liar as the indignant man. Only individuals have a sense of responsibility. I overcame myself, the sufferer. I carried my own ashes to the mountain. I invented a brighter flame for myself. Live dangerously. Build your cities on the slopes of Vesuvius. Someone who does not write books, who thinks a lot, and who lives in unsatisfying society, will usually be a good letter writer. The complete irresponsibility of man for his actions and his nature is the bitterest drop which he who understands must swallow. If there is to be art, if there is to be any aesthetic, doing and seeing, one physiological condition is indispensable: frenzy. Without passions, you have no experience whatever. Happiness is a fata morgana. The only way to not end up unhappy is to not long for happiness. We forget our guilt when we have confessed it to another, but the other does not usually forget it. Not their love of humanity, but the impotence of their love prevents the Christians of today burning us. In the last analysis, even the best man is evil. In the last analysis, even the best woman is bad. Whoever, at any time has undertaken to build a new heaven, has found the strength for it in his own hell. My abyss speaks, I have turned my ultimate depth inside out into the light. When we have to change our mind about a person, we hold the inconvenience he causes us very much against him. Art is the great stimulus to life. Never trust a thought that didn't come by walking. The criminal is quite frequently not equal to his deed. He belittles and slanders it. A thought comes when it will, not when I will. Faith is the path of least resistance. Whoever regards human beings as a herd and flees them as swiftly as he can, will no doubt be overtaken by them and impaled on their horns. The will to truth is merely the longing for a stable world. Sensuality often makes love grow too quickly, so that the root remains weak and is easy to pull out. The followers of a great man often put their eyes out, so that they may be the better able to sing his praise. Every profound spirit needs a mask. No price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. Whatever harm the evil may do, the harm done by the good is the most harmful harm. In the art, the end doesn't sanctify the means, but sacred means, employed here, can sanctify the end. One is healthy when one can laugh at the earnestness and zeal with which one has been hypnotized by any single detail of one's life. The great wars of the present age are the effects of the study of history. Men after death are understood worse than men of the moment, but heard better. He who has a way to live can bear almost anyhow. It is only when we have ceased to be the followers of our followers that we comprehend how meaningless followers are. The true man wants two things: danger and play. For that reason, he wants woman as the most dangerous plaything. I love the valiant, but it is not enough to wield a broadsword. One must also know against whom. The demand to be loved is the greatest of all arrogant presumptions. For men are not equal, thus speaks justice. A man of genius is unbearable, unless he possesses at least two things besides: gratitude and purity. Democracy represents the disbelief in all great men and in all elite societies. Everybody is everybody's equal. Morality is the best of all devices for leading mankind by the nose. Children from humble families must be taught how to command, just as other children must be taught how to obey. He who speaks a bit of a foreign language has more delight in it than he who speaks it well. Pleasure goes along with superficial knowledge. What is it that you love in others? My hopes. Convictions are more dangerous foes of truth than lies. The most perfidious way of harming a cause consists of defending it deliberately with faulty arguments. Only strong personalities can endure history, the weak are extinguished by it. We do not hate as long as we still attach a lesser value, but only when we attach an equal or a greater value. One is fruitful only at the cost of being rich in contradiction. Tolerance is a proof of distrust in one's own ideals. Books for general reading always smell bad. The odor of common people hangs around them. One doesn't only wish to be understood when one writes, one wishes just as surely not to be understood. You cannot learn to fly by flying. First you must learn to walk, to run, to climb, to dance. Belief in truth begins with doubting all that has hitherto been believed to be true. Stupidity in a woman is unfeminine. Do whatever you will, but first be such as are able to will. One must need to be strong, otherwise, one will never become strong. We love life, not because we are used to living, but because we are used to loving. The best weapon against an enemy is another enemy. When a woman has scholarly inclinations, there is usually something wrong with her sexuality. Loneliness is one thing, solitude another. The good they cannot create. They are always the beginning of the end. When thou gest to woman, take the whip. One's own self is well hidden from one's own self. Of all mines of treasure, one's own is the last to be dug up. The spiritualization of sensuality is called love. It is a great triumph over Christianity. Humility has the toughest hide. Improvements are invented only by those who can feel that something is not good. The lack of closeness among friends is a fault that cannot be reprimanded without becoming incurable. It is nobler to declare oneself wrong than to insist on being right, especially when one is right. He who seeks may easily get lost himself. It is a crime to go apart and be alone. Mastery has been achieved when one neither makes a mistake nor hesitates in the performance. Some mothers need happy children, others need unhappy ones. Otherwise they cannot prove their maternal virtues. From passions grow opinions. Intellectual laziness lets these harden into convictions. The disappointed one speaks. I searched for great human beings. I always found only the apes of their ideals. Science rushes headlong, without selectivity, without taste, at whatever is noble, in the blind desire to know all, at any cost. Wherever I found a living creature, there I found the will to power. Some men are born posthumously. He who attains his ideal precisely thereby surpasses it. Nobody is more inferior than those who insist on being equal. Insects sting, not from malice, but because they want to live. It is the same with critics. They desire our blood, not our pain. If the all-powerful God controls Satan, he is an accomplice. And if he doesn't, he is not an all-powerful God. It is not the strength, but the durations of great sentiments that make great men. The living is a species of the dead, and not a very attractive one. Egoism is the very essence of a noble soul. Man is the cruelest animal. Thinking has to be learned, in the way dancing has to be learned. A martyr's disciples suffer more than the martyr. A change of values, that means a change of the creators of values. He who has to be a creator always has to destroy. What is genius? To aspire to a lofty aim, and to will the means to that aim. If one seeks relief from unbearable pressure, one is to eat hashish. The thousand mysteries around us would not trouble, but interest us, if only we had cheerful, healthy hearts. Once, you were apes, yet even now, man is more of an ape than any of the apes. Every power draws its ultimate consequences at every moment. It's impossible to suffer without making someone pay for it. Every complaint already contains revenge. To be natural means to dare to be as immoral as nature is. I hate who steals my solitude without really offering me in exchange company. One must renounce the bad taste of wishing to agree with many people. The man of knowledge must be able not only to love his enemies, but also to hate his friends. The man who meets with a failure attributes this failure rather to the ill will of another than to fate. One has to know the size of one's stomach. Perhaps I know best why it is man alone who laughs. He alone suffers so deeply that he had to invent laughter. There is not sufficient religion in the world merely to put an end to the number of religions. We want to be poets of our life. First of all, in the smallest, most everyday matters. Whoever despises himself, still esteems the despiser within himself. Admiration for a quality or an art can be so strong that it deters us from striving to possess it. The most common sort of lie is the one uttered to oneself. It's very noble hypocrisy not to talk of oneself. My genius is in my nostrils. I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and the impossible. Do you want to have an easy life? Then always stay with the herd and lose yourself in the herd. Without forgetting, it is quite impossible to live at all. That which needs to be proved cannot be worth much. There will be but few people who, when at a loss for topics of conversation, will not reveal the more secret affairs of their friends. The lies should be necessary to life, is part and parcel of the terrible and questionable character of existence. There are two types of genius. One, which above all begets and wants to beget, and another, which prefers being fertilized and giving birth. The more you let yourself go, the less others let you go. The sick is the greatest danger for the healthy. It's not from the strongest that harm comes to the strong, but from the weakest. Be careful when you cast out your demons, that you don't throw away the best of yourself. Thoughts are the shadows of our feelings, always darker, emptier, and simpler. One repays a teacher badly if one always remains nothing but a pupil. The Germans are like women. You can scarcely ever fathom their depth, they haven't any. Art is the highest task, and the proper metaphysical activity of this life. Ah, women, they make the highs higher, and the lows more frequent. Evolution does not make happiness its goal. It aims simply at evolution and nothing else. Sometimes, all you need to do to win clever people over to a principle is to present it in the form of a shocking paradox. Let thy virtue be too high for the familiarity of names, and if thou must speak of it, be not ashamed to stammer about it. Insanity in individuals is something rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs, it is the rule. The secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. A friend should be a master at guessing and keeping still. You must not want to see everything. Don't allow yourselves to be deceived. Great minds are skeptical. Everything matters. Nothing's important. Digressions, objections, delight in mockery, carefree mistrust, are signs of hell. It is possible that the production of genius is reserved to a limited period of mankind's history. It is not a lack of love, but a lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages. Illness is a clumsy attempt to arrive at health. We must come to nature's aid with intellect. Everyone who has ever built anywhere a new heaven first found the power thereto in his own hell. In every real man, a child is hidden that wants to play. Style ought to prove that one believes in an idea, not only that one thinks it, but also feels it. Woman was God's second mistake. In the end, one only experiences oneself. In large states, public education will always be mediocre. For the same reason that in large kitchens, the cooking is usually bad. Woman is essentially unpeaceful, like the cat. However well she may have trained herself to present an appearance of peace. In the mountains of truth, you never climb in vain. Not he is great who can alter matter, but he who can alter my state of mind. All truly great thoughts are conceived by walking. The best author will be the one who is ashamed to become a writer. What then, in the last resort, are the truths of mankind? They are the irrefutable errors of mankind. One is punished best for one's virtues. And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. I looked for great men, but all I found were the apes of their ideals. Concerning great things, one should either be silent or speak loftily. The world is beautiful, but has a disease called man. In order to acquire intellect, one must need it. One loses it when it is no longer necessary. It is obvious that all sense has gone out of modern marriage, which is however no objection to marriage, but to modernity. There are no facts, only interpretations. But thought is one thing, the deed is another, and the image of the deed still another. The wheel of causality does not roll between them. You must climb above yourself up and beyond until you have even your stars under you. They call you heartless, but you have a heart, and I love you for being ashamed to show it. The most fundamental form of human stupidity is forgetting what we were trying to do in the first place. Science is about finding ever better approximations rather than pretending. You have already found ultimate truth. Everything good is instinct, and as a result, easy, necessary, free. One does not know, cannot know, the best that is in one. A casual stroll through the lunatic asylum shows that faith doesn't prove anything. Folk music is the original melody of man. It is the musical mirror of the world. Body, am I entirely, and nothing else. And soul is only a word for something about the body. Not to him who is offensive to us are we most unfair, but to him who didn't concern us at all. Pity is extolled as the virtue of prostitutes. Great intellects are skeptical. The mother of excess is not joy, but joylessness. Call me whatever you like. I am who I must be. Life is an instinct for growth, for survival, for the accumulation of forces, for power. Anyone who has declared someone else to be an idiot, a bad apple, is annoyed when it turns out, in the end, that he isn't. For a tree to become tall, it must grow tough roots among the rocks. The greatest progress that the human race has made lies in learning how to make correct inferences. We must take precautions against being prematurely honed sharp, since, at the same time, we are being prematurely honed thin. One should die proudly when it's no longer possible to live proudly. There will always be rocks in the road ahead of us. They will be stumbling blocks or stepping stones. It all depends on how you use them. Our shortcomings are the eyes with which we see the ideal. He who despises himself esteems himself as a self-despiser. It is difficult to live among people because silence is so difficult. Those who cannot understand how to put their thoughts on ice should not enter into the heat of debate. Where is there still a sea in which one could drown? Thus our lament resounds across shallow swamps. Woman understands children better than man does, but man is more childlike than woman. Without meaning, without substance, without aim, a mere public opinion. They muddy the water to make it seem deep. Love is a state in which a man sees things most decidedly as they are not. And when your soul become great, then doth it become haughty, and in your sublimity there is wickedness. The visionary lies to himself, the liar only to others. The golden age, when rambunctious spirits were regarded as the source of evil. Deep is the well of truth, and long does it take to know what has fallen into its depths. Extreme positions are not succeeded by moderate ones, but by extreme positions of the opposite kind. A book calls for pen, ink, and a writing desk. Today the rule is that pen, ink, and a writing desk call for a book. One has renounced the great life when one renounces war. Why does man not see things? He is himself standing in the way. He conceals things. The desire to annoy no one, to harm no one, can equally well be the sign of a just as of an anxious disposition. Reality is captured in the categorical nets of language, only at the expense of fatal distortion. Everything in the world displeases me, but above all, my displeasure in everything displeases me. By losing your goal, you have lost your way. There is more wisdom in your body than in your deepest philosophy. The poison by which the weaker nature is destroyed is strengthening to the strong individual, and he does not call it poison. No power can be maintained when it is only represented by hypocrites. Whoever thought that he had understood something of me had merely construed something out of me after his own image. It is not doubt, is certitude, that drives you mad. We are growing volcanoes that approach the hour of their eruption. But how near or distant that is, nobody knows. Not even God. Virtues are dangerous as vices, insofar as they are allowed to rule over one as authorities, and not as qualities one develops oneself. throw roses into the abyss, and say, "Here is my thanks to the monster who didn't succeed in swallowing me alive." In the whole of the New Testament, there is not one joke. That fact alone would invalidate any book. All great artists and thinkers are great workers. 10 times must you laugh during the day and be cheerful. Otherwise your stomach, the father of affliction, will disturb you in the night. I hate you most because you attract, but are not strong enough to pull me to you. On every parable you ride to every truth. Even cohabitation has been corrupted by marriage. Discontent is the seed of ethics. Every high degree of power always involves a corresponding degree of freedom from good and evil. If virtue goes to sleep, it will be more vigorous when it awakes. Man is no longer an artist, he has become a work of art. We often refuse to accept an idea merely because the tone of voice in which it has been expressed is unsympathetic to us. The abdomen is the reason why man does not readily take himself to be a god. I feel all those human beings to be pernicious who can no longer oppose what they love. They thereby ruin the best things and people. The will to overcome an emotion is ultimately only the will of another emotion. It is not when truth is dirty, but when it is shallow, that the lover of knowledge is reluctant to step into its waters. The good displeases us when we are not up to it. My wisdom has long accumulated like a cloud. It becomes stiller and darker. So does all wisdom, which shall one day bear lightnings. What makes us heroic? Confronting simultaneously our supreme suffering and our supreme hope. The most serious parody I have ever heard was this. In the beginning was nonsense, and the nonsense was with God, and the nonsense was God. Who knows himself to be profound, endeavors to be clear. He who would like to appear profound to the crowd, endeavors to be obscure. To one who is accustomed to thinking a lot, every new thought that he hears or reads about immediately appears as a link in a chain. How far is truth susceptible of embodiment? That is the question, that is the experiment. Words are but symbols for the relations of things to one another and to us. Nowhere do they touch upon absolute truth. Experience, as a desire for experience, does not come off. We must not study ourselves while having an experience. Two great European narcotics, alcohol and Christianity. Cynicism is the only form in which base souls approach honesty. For out of fear and need, each religion is born, creeping into existence on the byways, or reason. Never to talk about oneself is a very refined form of hypocrisy. Everything in woman hath a solution. It is called pregnancy. One must learn to be a sponge. If one wants to be loved by hearts that overflow. Love is blind. Friendship closes its eyes. Most thinkers write badly, because they communicate not only their thoughts, but also the thinking of them. Talking much about oneself may be a way of hiding oneself. Hope in reality is the worst of all evils, because it prolongs the torments of man. Those things for which we find words are things we have already overcome. Philosophical systems are wholly true for their founders only. We have art so that we shall not die of reality. Lightning and thunder need time. The light of the stars needs time. Deeds need time, even after they are done, to be seen and heard. A refined nature is vexed by knowing that someone owes it thanks. A coarse nature by knowing that it owes thanks to someone. Profundity of thought belongs to youth, clarity of thought to old age. If you know the why, you can live anyhow. In laughter, all that is evil comes together, but is pronounced holy, and absolved by its own bliss. For as long as they praise you, never forget that it is not yet your own path that you walk, but another person's. A small revenge is more human than no revenge at all. The strongest have their moments of fatigue. Man alone suffers so excruciatingly in the world. that he was compelled to invent laughter. And nobody lies as much as the indignant do. Do not paint a picture, either of God or the devil, on your walls. This will ruin both your walls and the atmosphere. Without music, life would be a mistake. I would only believe in a God who knew how to dance. After coming into contact with a religious man, I always feel I must wash my hands. A great value of antiquity lies in the fact that its writings are the only ones that modern men still read with exactness. Whoever has really sacrificed anything knows that he wanted and got something in return. One must be a sea to receive a polluted stream without becoming impure. One often contradicts an opinion when what is uncongenial is really the tone in which it was conveyed. I am opposed to socialism because it dreams ingenuously of good, truth, beauty, and equal rights. The same passions in man and woman nonetheless differ in tempo. Hence man and woman don't cease misunderstanding one another. In magnanimity, there is the same amount of egoism as in revenge, but egoism of a different quality. Women and egoistic artists entertain a feeling towards science that is something composed of envy and sentimentality. In solitude, there grows what anyone brings into it, the inner beast too. Therefore solitude is inadvisable to many. Pitch black, winter nights live in my bones. You know, a moment is important when it is making your mind go numb with beauty. The growth of wisdom may be gauged exactly by the diminution of ill temper. Those who are devoid of purpose will make the void their purpose. When 100 men stand together, each of them loses his mind and gets another one. At times, our strengths propel us so far forward, we can no longer endure our weaknesses and perish from them. What is wrong with Christianity is that it refrains from doing all those things that Christ commanded should be done. The beast in us must be wheedled. Ethic is necessary that we may not be torn to pieces. In truth, there was only one Christian, and he died on the cross. Poets are shameless with their experiences. They exploit them. It takes physical courage to indulge in wickedness. The good are too cowardly to do it. Your only problem, perhaps, is that you scream without letting yourself cry. All great things must first wear terrifying and monstrous masks in order to inscribe themselves on the hearts of humanity. Rational thought is interpretation according to a scheme which we cannot escape. Living in a constant chase after gain compels people to expend their spirit to the point of exhaustion. The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. On the heights, it is warmer than those in the valley imagine. Lust is only a sweet poison for the weakling, but for those who will, with a lion's heart, it is the reverently reserved wine of wines. Glance into the world just as though time were gone, and everything crooked will become straight to you. It is our taste that decides against Christianity now, no longer our reasons. Never yield to remorse, but at once tell yourself, remorse would simply mean adding to the first act of stupidity a second. Character is determined more by the lack of certain experiences than by those one has had. I climb upon the highest mountains, laughing at all tragedies, whether real or imaginary. Art is the proper task of life. One who is always deeply involved in what he is doing is above all embarrassment. I am a forest and a night of dark trees, but he who is not afraid of my darkness will find banks full of roses under my cypresses. If you want me to believe in your Redeemer, you are going to have to look a lot more redeemed. A nation that still believes in itself holds fast to its own God. The wheel and the brake have different duties, but also one in common, to hurt one another. Whatever we think about and question a lot becomes questionable. I live in my own place, have never copied anyone even half, and at any master who lacks the grace to laugh at himself, I laugh. A woman may very well form a friendship with a man, but for this to endure, it must be assisted by a little physical antipathy. Strong hope is a much greater stimulant of life than could be any single realized joy. Better know nothing than half know many things. Morality is the herd instinct in the individual. If a man has character, he has also his typical experience, which always recurs. There is one thing one has to have, either a soul that is cheerful by nature, or a soul made cheerful by work, love, art, and knowledge. What is the difference between someone who is convinced and one who is deceived? None, if he's well deceived. Whenever I climb, I am followed by a dog called ego. One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. Laughter means taking a mischievous delight in someone else's uneasiness, but with a good conscience. Strength is the morality of the man who stands out from the rest, and it is mine. I love him whose soul is so overfull that he forgot himself, and all things are in him. Thus all things become his downgoing. You gave him an opportunity of showing greatness of character, and he didn't seize it. He will never forgive you for that. You must be born for your physician, otherwise you are bound to perish because of your physician. Everyone being allowed to learn to read ruineth in the long run, not only writing, but also thinking. One never dives into the water to save a drowning man more eagerly than when there are others present who dare not take the risk. The usual false conclusions of mankind are these: a thing exists, therefore it has a right to exist. Shared joys make a friend, not shared sufferings. One should steal only where one cannot rob. The lonely one offers his hand too quickly to whomever he encounters. Your soul will be dead even before your body. Fear nothing further. To be ashamed of one's immorality, that is a step on the staircase, at whose end one is also ashamed of one's morality. The idealist is incorrigible. If he is thrown out of his heaven, he makes an ideal of his hell. In praise, there is more obtrusiveness than in blame. Many are stubborn in pursuit of the path they have chosen, few in pursuit of the goal. Few are made for independence. It is the privilege of the strong. Dreadful experiences raise the question whether he who experiences them is not something dreadful also. Every deep thinker is more afraid of being understood than of being misunderstood. The parasites live where the great have little secret source. Sleeping is no mean art. For its sake, one must stay awake all day. For art to exist, for any sort of aesthetic activity to exist, a certain physiological precondition is indispensable: intoxication. Some people appear to be more meager in talent than they are, just because the tasks they set themselves are always too great. Enjoy life. This is not a dress rehearsal. God is a thought who makes crooked all that is straight. Against war, it may be said that it makes the victor stupid, and the vanquished revengeful. The higher man is distinguished from the lower by his fearlessness and his readiness to challenge misfortune. There exists, above the productive man, a yet higher species. One must know how to conserve oneself. The best test of independence. To call a thing good, not a day longer than it appears to us good, and above all, not a day earlier. That is the only way to keep joy pure. What is the truth but a lie agreed upon? How much truth can a spirit bear? How much truth can a spirit dare? That became for me, more and more, the real measure of value. Only he who is man enough will release the woman in woman. Something unappeased, unappeasable, is within me. Nothing is more democratic than logic. It is no respecter of persons, and makes no distinction between crooked and straight noses. I love the great despisers, because they are the great adorers. Nothing on earth consumes a man more quickly than the passion of resentment. Truth will have no gods before it. The belief in truth begins with the doubt of all truths in which one has previously believed. The inability to lie is far from the love of truth. However unchristian it may seem, I don't even bear any ill feeling towards myself. Art is essentially the affirmation, the blessing, and the deification of existence. I despise mystics. They fancy themselves so deep when they aren't even superficial. All great men are play actors of their own ideal. Success has always been a great liar. Close beside my knowledge lies my black ignorance. What the philosopher is seeking is not truth, but rather the metamorphosis of the world into man. One should not wish to enjoy where one doesn't give joy. People who have given us their complete confidence believe that they have a right to ours. The inference is false. A gift confers no rights. A woman's pity, which is talkative, carries the sick person's bed to the public marketplace. You say that I should be your teacher. See to it that I am your pinion, and not your brake. The consequence is that every man comes to know himself solely in terms of his power for defense and attack. When we are tired, we are attacked by ideas we conquered long ago. One has to pay dearly for immortality. One has to die several times while one is still alive. It is not in how one soul approaches another, but in how it withdraws that. I know its affinity and solidarity with the other. Fathers and sons are much more considerate of one another than mothers and daughters. Death is close enough at hand, so we don't need to be afraid of life. Be careful who you choose as your enemy, because that's who you become most like. Those who create are hard of heart. And if you are not a bird, then beware of coming to rest above an abyss. I assess the power of a will by how much resistance, pain, torture it endures, and knows how to turn to its advantage. Many deeds are done so as to forget another deed. There are also opiate activities. I exist so that another will be forgotten. So long as men praise you, you can only be sure that you are not yet on your own true path, but on someone else's. If all alms were given only from pity, all beggars would have starved long ago. The free man is a warrior. It is a terrible thought to contemplate that an immense number of mediocre thinkers are occupied with really influential matters. I could dispense with nothing when I created the Superman. His seed still carries all your evil and falsehood, your lies, and your ignorance. What makes one heroic? Going out to meet, at the same time, one's highest suffering, and one's highest hope. What is the seal of liberation? Not to be ashamed in front of oneself. The essence of all beautiful art, all great art, is gratitude. We are all afraid of the truth. Smooth ice is paradise for those who dance with expertise. We should not talk about our friends, otherwise we will talk away the feeling of friendship. Inaction, letting be, neither creating nor destroying. That is my evil, and also the knower as one, without desire. It takes just such painful and terrible things to occur for the great emancipation to take place. To do great things is difficult, but to command great things is more difficult. The universe, without music, would be madness. It is only those who know how to feel that this is not good who devise improvements. We praise or blame as one or the other affords more opportunity for exhibiting our power of judgment. The author must keep his mouth shut when his work starts to speak. There is no more dreary or more repulsive creature than the man who has evaded his genius. All I need is a sheet of paper and something to write with, and then I can turn the world upside down. I am alone again, and I want to be so alone with the pure sky and open sea.